Alright, guys, welcome back to this journey of Python expertise, I can say, in this IIC Rise. Today's topic, guys, is very much core, plus multiple things we are going to add in today's topic in Python, right? Normally, according to market, today's topic normally consider into the Python advanced. Okay. So the overall agenda for today's class, guys, is we are going to do some kind of advanced network programming. Okay, so anybody who have heard about network, and plus, even though if I try to give you a proper terminology here, okay, we are going to uh, create or develop our own servers or own services. Okay, and when I say own services, what I mean by this, anybody by chance who know Microsoft, any kind of Unix server, any kind of Linux server, or by chance you guys gone through my Linux classes, RSC, SA classes in ISA Rise, where I talk about Red Hat version 8. That's called Red Hat 8. Sorry, guys. So we have talked a lot about different servers. Okay, for example, one of the server you guys might have heard about, that is called web server, through which we can host our website. Okay, and there's a lot of product available in the market. One of the name of product called Apache web server. So normally if you go for any admin trainings, right, there we talk a lot about how we can configure the servers. Again, I'm guys want to emphasize in one term. Okay, I'm talking about how we can set up the server, or I can say how we can configure the server. Okay, but they never say how we can develop a server or create our own server. And there's a big difference, right? So if you talk about a job perspective, normally if you see any kind of admin job or administration job or IT job in the technological world, these guys always talk about configure and setting up the thing. Okay, they never talk about how can we develop our own. Okay, so technically a company or community like Apache, they created their pre-configured software, they provide to us, we go and install the software, we install, run the program, and we'll say finally our software has been configured or our server has been configured. Okay, but today's guys training, we are going to talk about not to configure the thing or not to setting up the thing. We are going to create our own server or own services, or we can say I'm going to develop our own software according which service we would like to provide. Okay, so anybody have heard about mail servers, database servers, web servers, DNS server? This is a very FTP server, very commonly used server, or maybe remote login server, for example SSH, or maybe Telnet, right? So these are the pre-created server and they work on their own protocol and they work on their own port number. But in today's class, guys, I'm going to develop the things by our own code using the Python language from the very basic. And because we are going to develop our own server, so I believe this is the best way to learn the concept of server and services. So anybody who by chance have heard about the term called port number, and they heard about the term called protocol number, they might know, but they might be possibility you won't able to feel it, the actual meaning of these terms. But today, after we develop our own server and services by our own code, you will get the exact meaning of what is port number and protocol and how the server and services work behind this, because we would be the developer of those services. Sorry, guys. So let's start from very zero. But if you want to develop anything, there will be lots of concepts we have to understand, right? So let me do step by step. But technically, the today's topic is how to do a network programming using the Python. And after guys understand this concept, if you want to do network programming in any other language also, maybe in Java or maybe any other language, you can do. Maybe the syntax will be different, but the concept wise they are the same. Okay, so I'm doing, guys, all the spectacle. Today I'm going to use two different operating system, right? Because we have to deal with networking, and obviously, guys, when I say networking, at least two computer you need so that we can do some network and test the thing. So today what I'm going to do, okay, according to my current environment, I'm going to use one of my Linux system. Okay, one of my operating system would be my Linux system, and I'm using Red Hat version 8 here. You can use any operating system because you know Python is a cross-platform language. So coding wise, they would be exactly the same. And second operating system that I'm going to use would be Windows. But again, you can use both the system as a Windows, and whatever you want to use, you can use in your way. Okay, so these are the two systems we would like to do. Only thing you should know as a basic thing, if you want to do something on the networking, okay, so both the systems should have a connectivity. And if you guys know a little bit about networking, so normally if you want to have a connectivity, so this system should require IP address, and this system should also require IP. I normally want to say IPv version 4 address. Okay, and very good practice, if you want to do anything in networking, just go and check the connectivity, and normally we see the connectivity or check the connectivity with a ping command. So that's what I'm going to do here. So this is my Linux operating system. I'm logging with some of my account, root account here. Okay, and what I'm going to do before we start a programming in the Python of networking, I'm checking the connectivity of my system from Windows to Linux to see that we have connected or not, so that we can focus more on the programming part rather than we will stuck in some of the sorry, troubleshooting related to networking. Okay, so this is my Linux system, and I'm opening my terminal here. And if you know about basics about Linux, so you guys might know in the Linux, if you want to see or check your IP address, we have a command called ifconfig. And if you go up in my Linux, we have a network card enp0s3. Your network card name might be different, but the IP of my system is this one. So according to my setup, okay, the IP of this system is 192.168.0.129. And I just want to check one small thing. Thus, for my Windows, we have a connectivity or not. And for this, I'm opening the command terminal of the Windows, and and checking using the ping command. I'm checking the connectivity. If you see this time come up, right, it means we have a connectivity. So we don't have a challenge in the terms of connectivity. Now let's start with the today's topic. So today's we are going to create, or I can say develop, not configure, not set up, create or develop our own services or our own server. And today's class is a long topic. Maybe we have to continue tomorrow also with the same topic. Okay, but in one or two class, guys, you will get so much strong base in the terms of network programming. So almost whatever and anything you want to develop in the networking world or network server world, you can develop it. Okay, I'll give some more multiple examples here that will give you a strong foundation about the network programming. Okay, so let me start from very basic concept here. The concept is something like this, right? So if a guys to understand some of the basic term here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create let me first create a workspace here. Okay, so let's say this is my workspace. One. Okay, this is just a folder I've just created here, and this folder I'm going to keep all of my code. And I'm going to create a code, and let's say my code is s.py. Okay, gedit is just a program in Linux to open the text editor. Okay, and what I'm going to do, very simple code that you guys know already. Print. Okay, and before I do print, let me use input function. Okay, and I'm storing this guy into one variable called x, and let me print x here. Very simplest code, you guys know about this code. And what I'll do, even the very small change here. Okay, and guys, this code will give you lots of sense. Just try to look at this code. I know you know this code, but in 5 minutes you're going to get a very interesting concept of the networking by this example. Okay, so very simple code. Let me run this code because guys, I'm into Red Hat version 8. We have to use this command to run the Python version 3 code. And when I run this code, okay, asking for the input, let's say I'm giving the input called my name Vimal, and they will print the same name. Okay, now guys, why I write this code? There's a reason for this, right? Why I write this code? Right now, if you guys notice over here, if you notice over here, okay, right now, this Linux operating system, okay, in my case is having the IP address 129. Okay, this is my IP address of my Linux operating system. And I have one operating system also running in my laptop. Maybe my other laptop I'm using Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi connection. We have a connectivity. So Windows will have one more IP, and I have shown you from my Windows that Windows is have a proper network connectivity with this IP. So so technically we have a network connectivity. And guys, why you need a network connectivity? One of the reason, and I can say one and only reason why we need a network connectivity between two operating system or between two system and two laptops and mobile phone, the only use case to have the network is to transfer the data from here to there. So Windows want to transfer some data to this system, so Windows can transfer, and vice versa we can also do. This is the, I can say in the simple high level, this is the only need of the network. So we have seen guys, we already have a network connectivity. We use the ping command to see the connectivity, and because we have a network connectivity, it means it means if Windows want to send some data to the Linux, they can, because they need network and we have the network. Now the point is, because we have a network connectivity, now what I want, okay, when I run this program Python s.py, and you guys know when I run a program, when I have a code in my hard disk that is called program, and when we execute this, it becomes process. Okay, and when it's because it's process, so this process is asking, okay, can you please give me the input? So let me again run this code. Let me again run this code. This process is asking me, can you give me the input? Okay, and you know what guys, the challenge over here is they're asking me the input. Okay, and you know what guys, in my example I have given the input, but I use the keyboard of my own computer. I use the keyboard of my Linux operating system. Or I can say I give the input from my Linux operating system, but that's what I don't want. What I want, instead my Linux keyboard or my Linux give this input, I want to have this input from a different operating system running on the network. For example, in my case, I want Windows will give the input. For example, Windows will give the data called hello, just for data, and over the network, because we have a network connectivity, this hello from the Windows of my other laptop or mobile phone, maybe they come to my Linux, or this program will accept this. Okay, and after accept this, whatever they want to do with this data. For example, in my case, I print Vimal, but because I use print function, but whatever this program will want to do, they want to print, they want to store something, they want to do something, they want to run as a command, they will do, that would be their choice. That's why it will be the complete choice of the program, what they want to do with the X. Maybe they want to use if or else, for loop, that would be their choice. Okay, but the important point here guys, that we have to handle today, okay, I don't want to give the input from my own keyboard where the program is running. Okay, I would like to get the input from my Windows. How can you do this? Okay, so for example, my program is running, I don't want to give the input from here. If you see guys, this black screen is my Red Hat Linux, and this is the keyboard of my Linux, and this black screen is called terminal. So I don't want to use my own terminal or my console. Okay, I would like to do something that I can give the input from my Windows or from other laptop or the system that is connected to via internet or some kind of network. How I can do. Okay, so for this guys, you should know one thing. Okay, one thing. Let's say somehow you can set up something on the Python so that from other system via the network you can take the input. Okay, but the challenge guys here is, right, the challenge here is, because we are using input function and input function guys don't have a capability to take the input from the network. Yeah, guys, if you guys go through my other classes, if you guys remember something like this, I have talked in my CGI or API class also. Okay, and when you pass the input from the CGI or the API, input function again won't work there. So depend guys from where you're sending the input. Okay, so if you want to sending the input via CGI, we have a different function altogether. Okay, we have a function from CGI module. If you want to take the input from your command line, your black screen terminal or the console, there the input function working work for you. So I can say, if you want to know about the input function will only take the input from your own personal or local keyboard from the CM screen. That is the total limitation of the input function. But here my input is not coming from my keyboard. Windows is the one who will send the input via network, and this input will come to my this process. And I want my this process has a capability. They will go to my network wire or wireless hub or network packets, get the input and use put in the X and use somewhere where they want to use. And for this we have to introduce and we have to use some different function. Obviously we don't have to use input, we have to use different function. And the name of function guys that has a capability, they go to a network and get the data from the network wire or from the network card, I can say. So function name is not the input function. Okay, we have to use a function that has that capability, and name of that function is called get sorry receive from function. Okay, so guys, receive from is a function that has a capability. Okay, so any data that's come over your network, maybe wire or wireless, it is not at all important. Okay, they will go to the packet, receive the data, and they store in the X, and after the X you can use if else for loop, whatever to use you can do over here. Or maybe you can get the data and use the file handling that I told you in my last class, and and store somewhere. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so now let me run this program again. So small change I have did in my program. Okay, so receive from I use instead of input because input has a limit. Receive from will do the things what I wanted here. Okay, now if I run my code here again, let's see what happened. Okay, they say receive from function is not defined, and you guys know whenever you use any function that is not defined, it means this function always come from module. You have to import the module. But before guys I import the module, I have to explain you some more concept. Okay, after guys you understand those things, right, let me tell you one more thing. Let me create one more file here. Okay, and let me create one more file. Let's say a.py. And in this file guys, again I'm going to use like a variable called wire, for example. Again I'm using receive from function, and again I'm printing y here. Okay, so now we have two program, and both the program has a capability to receive the data from the network. Okay, and you guys know in the operating system because our operating system is multitasking. Okay, so I can run multiple tasks, or it means I can run multiple program in parallel. So this program I also run, I can run. Guys, this is not thread. Thread is I already explained to you. So this is an independent program, and this is an independent program. You can think it is like a Firefox. It is like a Notepad. So two different program I can run in parallel. Okay, so let's say both the program running in parallel. Now challenge guys over here is, okay, if both the program is running parallel, okay, in your operating system right now, my Linux, my system is Linux, and the IP of my Linux is 129. And in this system there's two program or two process running. One process name is called s.py, and one process name is called a.py. a.py. And challenge guys, we have both the program has a capability to go to the network wire and receive data and use it. Okay, Now the challenge, guys, we have here is, for example, we have one more other computer, other laptop. Okay, let's say here my case Windows. If Windows send a data, and guys, I think you already know that if some OS want to send a data to your OS, they require and they should know your IP address. So for example, Windows want to send a data, and let's say data is hello. So this hello they put in one box. This box is called packet, and this packet they write somewhere in the top that I want to send this data on this IP address. Okay, and so this data will go and receive by this IP address. And where they receive? On their network card or NIC card over there. Now challenge we have here, guys, Windows will send the data to this IP address, but challenge here is both the program is saying I am listening to my network card, my network packet, and whenever any packet come up, I will go and read the data there, or read the data from here. Now what is challenge? The challenge is both the program is listening the data. Okay, so who will receive it? Both will receive, one will receive, or maybe let's say one will receive, but maybe Windows want to send a data to s.py, or maybe eve.py will go and read the data for you. But Windows guys want to send the data to this program, but other program will receive it. So there will be a lot of confusion, guys, come up. Okay, that is a reason, guys, we are using a different approach here. Okay, and this approach is actually used by Windows guys or other open systems guys. They are the one who know where they want to send it. They are the one who say, I would like to send the data IP to 129. Or they might more OS here, right? And their IP address may be different. So guys, if somebody want to send data, they are the one, obviously they will decide which IP they want to send the data. They want to send IP2 or IP129. Or Windows guys say, for example, I would like to send the data to IP129. So in this 129, there might be multiple program running, A program, B program, C program, and all the program are getting or reading data from the network wire. So obviously, guys, Windows guys will decide which program they want to send data to this program or this program. Maybe Windows guys will send the data to this program because this program may be getting the data and storing in the file. Or maybe this program will getting data and sending the mail. Or maybe other program is getting data and storing some databases. Okay, or maybe printing for Windows. Okay, so obviously the guy who send the data, they will decide where they want to send the data. But challenge, guys, over here is, right, in the networking world. Okay, if you try to compare this example without the networking world, it is something like this. Okay. For example, right now, if you're seeing my screen, in my screen, I'm going to open a notepad. Notepad. So what is notepad? Notepad is a program. When I execute this, it becomes a process. So in my computer, guys, one notepad program is running. Okay. In my system, one Chrome process is running. Okay. So let's forget about network. And if you guys think very logically, right, I am the user of this laptop or the consumer of this laptop. Or I can say one more word here, I am a client of this laptop, so I can decide which program I want to use. But whatever, guys, program I would like to use, okay, first of all I have to use my mouse, okay, and first take the screen of that program in front of mine. Okay, for example, my intention is to use notepad, so I have to first access this notepad in the front of mine, get a cursor blinking here, then I can use it. But same time, if you want to use Firefox, you can't, or Chrome, you can't. If you want to use the Chrome, you have to take your mouse, tell and say, I want to use Chrome. Click here, then you can use whatever you want to use and how you want to use. You can use up and down and use it, right? You guys know this. But what I'm trying to explain you here is, that is very important to know. Okay. Here is, if you are using any process or any program, by chance this program name is notepad, this program name is Chrome browser, you have to use your mouse in your graphical user interface, mean GUI, okay, and point out I want to use notepad process or Chrome process. So if you're using any process locally, normally you use your mouse to point out which one to use. And why I can point out? Because everything is visible to you. It is there in the front of your screen. You can use and point out and change it and use accordingly. Okay, but let's think let's think you're not local to this computer. Means you're not sitting in this computer. Okay, you're sitting in any other computer. And let's say this entire computer IP is 129, and you are sitting in another laptop, let's say in Windows, different laptop. Okay, and because you are in a different laptop, so obviously you can connect to this guy with the only way possible is network. There is no other way possible. Let's say you are in a different room, this is a different room, different country, different city. So only way possible network. And from the Windows or from other laptop, if you contact to other laptop over the network, so you can't see their program and process name. Even though you also don't know which process name they're running here, Notepad or Chrome. They are running. Okay, so what I'm talking about, guys, for this system from Windows, let's say this system A and a system called B. If A want to use any of the process of B, and first of all, guys, you know already I discussed multiple times, if you want to use any OS in the world, maybe locally or maybe via the network, right? The only thing that a user can use or a human being can use a process. Instead of process, guys, there is no other thing possible in any of the operating system that you can use. Okay, you can only use process either locally or via the network. Okay, so it means if A want to use B, so A can't say I want to use IP 129. So again, guys, for by this example, it means it is impossible to connect any IP address. IP address is just way to differentiate which computer you want to reach. You want to reach A, you want to reach C, you want to use this laptop, you want to use other laptop, you want to use, reach other server. So IP address is just a way to tell to your computer, let's say A or Windows, where you want to reach. Okay, that's all. Where to send your packet. But packet has data, and data, guys, is always be used and accessed by a process. So as a Windows, guys, or a computer, you tell just go to IP 129, and in the 129 there's two processes running, Chrome or the Notepad. Just go and contact to the Notepad program, and a Notepad program will sorry, a Notepad program is the one who will go and take your data and use and print somewhere whatever they want to do. That will be decided by that program only. So process is the one, or program is the one who decide what they want to do with the data. So I mean, Notepad, we type it, in Chrome we type the URL, they go to there. So every program has a different capabilities. So in this case, what I'm finally I'm trying to elaborate here. So in this example, guys, if you talk about the Windows perspective, right, they can't see the program name or the process name because we are over the network. That is a reason. That is a reason because Windows is the one who decide which program they want to use. So if you want to give a Windows a capabilities or other system a capabilities, they decide in IP 129 which process they want to connect. Or second thing, they don't have a process name visibility. They can't see the process or they can't see the program. That is a reason, guys, in the networking world, every program through which you want, means 129 want that anybody from outside world can connect. So 129 is the one who will give this program as unique number. For example, let's say 129 say I want to give my Notepad program a capability that anybody from outside world want to connect and give some information data they can give to this guy. So IP 129 who is running this program process, right, they will give this program as some unique number. For example, 1 2 3 4, for example. At same time, this guy decide I also want my Chrome guys can also, or Chrome program can also be connected from outside world. So they give some number like 222. And now they start advertising these numbers. Let's say IP 129 say now in my computer I have two program. I'm not going to tell my program name, even though I can tell there's no sense to telling your name to the outside world. Let's say to the computer A, Windows. But Windows, I'm telling to you two information. One, my IP address, so that you can reach to me, and one, my program name, numbers, this one and this one. So whenever you want to send some data, for example, you want to send hello, so you can tell to your packet of the network, that packet please go and reach to IP129. And when you reach to IP129, there might be some OS running. Now it is not important this is running with Linux or Windows or Mac. Okay, when you reach to this IP, you have to tell to IP129 129 that in your computer there's some program running. I don't know the name of the process and the program, and even though I don't know which language the code has been constructed, Python or Java or Ruby. Okay, I only know one thing: the port number. Okay, the number, and here this number is technically known as port number, and that is the only use of the port number. So a lot of guys has in the market have seen given a lot of unwanted description of the port number. They say it is like gateway, it is gate, I don't know, multiple unwanted or myth information is available in the market. But that is the only use of the port number. So you can think as port number is equals to program name or process name. So in the local system, okay, we connect the program with the name. Same program, if you want to connect from the networking world, from the different computer, okay, we have to use their unique number. Okay, and that unique number in the networking world is known as port number. So Windows will decide, other guys will decide, I want to send a hello to this IP. Why this IP? Because I have multiple computer, every computer will have different IPs. So I don't want to send my data to IP123. I would like to send my data only to IP129. Okay, but in the 129 there will be multiple program and process running. So I am the one, Windows, who decide which program will collect my data. Okay, and get access my data. So I don't know the program name or language, whatever they use, but I know the number of that program. This is called port number. So these two information, guys, with the data, they reach to IP129. 129 receive this data, means this is this entire packet. And guys, by the way, this complete box is called packet. It's called network packet, and in the network packet, these two terms is stored in a packet header. Okay, and this term where you have data is also known as a payload. So header per payload is become your packet. So when this packet reach to IP129 and say you reach to right location, I will see in the IP address what you type in your packet, you reach to right location. So I'll take this packet, I receive this packet, and I also see which kind of data you have come to me. But you tell me that this data we have to only provide to this port number. So I'll go to my system, I'll check which program is associated with this port number. And this concept is called binding. Which program has a bind to this port number? So I will go and contact to this program and hand over this data. Now it is their program choice. This is not a choice of A computer Windows, or this is not a choice of IP129B computer here. So this is choice of this process. That is a port number 129. They decide what they want to do with this data. They want to print the data, they want to store in the file, they want to run as a command, they want to use the data to mail somebody. That would be their decision. Okay, so after the data received, the program is the one who decides. Okay, but guys, in this oral diagram, I just want to, even though I can explain the port number in 1 minute also, but I've taken some time here because I wanted to the right meaning of the port number. Okay, and one more information here. Okay, the way I explained to you, IP129 in my case is Red Hat Linux, and they are running with the multiple processors. Okay, so not all the process has a port number. Okay, so maybe we are running here Notepad, right? But Notepad is been developed by some developer, and while developing they say this Notepad program don't have any need that anybody from outside world can connect this. So the guy who created this Notepad program, they doesn't bind this program with some number. So in this case, I can say Notepad is just a local program. They don't have a capability that they can get the data from the network. Okay, something like this. Okay, so not all the program has a capability to get the data from the network. Who decide? The developer of the program decide. For example, if you again now if I compare with my program, okay, so if you see this program, s.py, this is a program, and when I run this program, it become process. So let me change a little bit here. Okay, so let me change from receive from to print, and just to test this, right? So it became process. One minute, what happened? It's not print, obviously it is input. Okay, so it's my process. But who developed this process? We develop. So we are the one who decide, do we want this process has a capability to interact with some network? Okay, so by chance we don't have, because we haven't write any kind of numbers and port numbers here. Even though we can check also. Right now guys, if you open new terminal here, and there's a command in Linux called ps-aux, it will tell you all the process running in the system. And one of the process name that is running here is this one. Okay, and every process guy has some unique IDs. This is called process ID. In my multi-threading class, I told you this is the process ID. And guys, let me search only for a process called s.py. So this is a process we are running that has this ID. But if you want to confirm, does this process, maybe not written by you or somebody else written this process for you or this program for you in some of in any of the languages, we have to check, does this process has some unique number or port number, or they bind to some port number. So there's one small command in the Linux we have, netstart-tnl. Okay, and here we can check. Let me share this command to you first. So we can check here, does any process ID 8591. So we see guys, these are the IDs 187842. So we won't see any ID with 859. But if you see some 8591 here, you might see Python here, and you might see number here, and this number guys are known as port number. So anybody by chance know something about networking, so you might know this is the port number, and this port number means web server. This port number 22 means SSL server. Okay, but you can't see any port number for Python s.py program. Because we are the developer, we haven't tell to this program that you require some port number. Because my intention is to run this program locally. I don't want anybody from outside world will interact this. But if you want some outside guys will interact this program, for this you have to provide some port number. And now it is your choice which port number you want to give. So you can give any port number, but it should be unique. Unique means if some other program in your computer use this some port number. For example, I can use this command, and I've seen somebody use port number 22, somebody use port number 631, or maybe 11180. Okay, so somebody, for example, here there's some program name stdpd, they use 80 as a port number. Okay, so port number should be unique. Means if some program is unique using this port number, obviously other program won't able to use it. Again, obviously guys, there's very simple logic. If two program using same number, so again my packet will confuse. Okay, which process we want to provide this data. So that is one of the reasons guys why port number should be unique for all the program. Okay, or I can say one port number we can only associate to one program. This is the best way to say. Okay, so I can see here, I don't see any port number 1 2 3 4 2 2 2. You can give any port number here. So I'm just going to give a port number called 1 2 3 4. So this is a program, and when I run this program, this program will be associated. Right word is called bind to this port number. Okay, but understand one thing. Okay, one thing here. Okay, whenever there might be guys reason here. Okay, or let me explain this way. For example, this is the Linux operating system. In my case, the IP is 129, and I'm going to create my program. My program name is s.py, and so if I want to use this program locally, I can use my mouse keyboard to interact this program locally the way we always do. but my intention is to use this program by some network computers. So I give this program some unique number, this called port number. Okay, and we have other computer here that has a network connectivity. In my case, is Windows. If my Windows want to send some data to this program, Windows don't know about the program name. Even though they know, but there's no use to give the name or provide this name to the Windows computer. So let's say Windows want to send some data, hello. Okay, but understand one thing, guys. Whenever sorry, whenever you want to use a data or send a data, okay, the only possible way is to provide this data to some process, either your own local process or the process running in other computer. So this is the duty of these Windows guys. They will decide where they want to send this data or whatever data you want to send. Okay, to the local notepad program. If yes, just go use your mouse and type here and say hello. But they said no, I don't want to send the local computer local program. I would like to send to this program. So this is the duty of the Windows to add one top, it's called header on the top of this, and they say I would like to send this data to this IP and to this number. It's called port number. So this Windows has to add, it's called, I told you guys, this called header or packet header. And to technically, I'm trying to explain you here is, right, it means if you want to tell anybody a program name, there's two ways. Either you can tell somebody that I am using program s.py. This is one of the way to tell the program name. Program name. Or there's one more way. Okay, the way is IP and the port combination. So if you want to tell somebody that I would like to use this program, then tell the IP of that computer and the port number of that computer. And by chance, guys, we know IP we have to always keep unique. So it means if this computer has IP 129, so nobody in the world as such will have the same IP address. Or because this IP is unique, or in this IP, guys, we are giving every program through which I want to have a network connectivity, every program a unique port number. It means, okay, IP and the port combination is such a combination that will define this program uniquely in the entire world. I'm considering that IP is unique everywhere. Okay, so IP and port combination is the combination that will define this program, or that will identify this program uniquely in the world. So it means if there's one computer working in the world has IP 129 and anybody in the world want to connect to this program, to this computer or to this IP, okay, they send the packet on the network or the internet, and because this IP is unique and this in this IP the program port number is unique, so packet will always reach here and get that exactly happening in the internet world. So in the internet world, guys, all the IP in the world is unique. So Google has their own IP, Facebook has their own IP. So guys, whenever you connect to Facebook and Google, or maybe at the same time, you connect to both, right? For example, I connect to Facebook here, same time I connect to Google here. Two packets going from my laptop, but they actually reach to Google. How I know? Google reply me. They actually reach to Facebook. How I know? Because Facebook reply me. How is possible? Because from my laptop, so from my laptop, two packet is going. In one of the packet, I am sending IP port number combination of Facebook, and second packet I am sending IP port number combination of Google. Maybe guys here you're not typing any port number or IP address, but you guys might know about networking. This name is also equal to IP address. And browser guys by default send some port number, add a port number. Normally they put port number 80 or 443. So there's a different point here. Okay. So guys, so it means what I'm trying to tell you guys, every program in the world, or I can say over the network, or I can say over the internet, is uniquely identified not by with their name. They uniquely identify or connected by a combination of IP and the port number. And guys, that is the reason guys they have given a for IP and port combination has given one name in the market. And the combination of IP colon port number is also known as socket. Sorry guys. So technically, if you want your program has a capability that through which anybody from outside world can connect this, so in your computer you have to create a socket. Socket means this program have some unique name. Okay, we don't want to use s.py, even though in my computer I have this name s.py. But if you have this name s.py, that I show you already here. Okay, so this program will only have a capability to connect locally. That's all. Only locally we can connect the way we do, like this. So not this one, like this. But if you want this program will have a connect capability that any network computer can connect to this guy, then we have to this give a program socket or name that with the combination of IP and port number. And that is the reason, guys, while doing a programming of the network, okay, we have to give this program two things. First of all, the port number, and second, the IP address of your own computer. Obviously, guys, this program is running in your computer. You have to provide your IP address. Okay, IP address and the port number. So whenever you do a network program, okay, we have to provide IP address and we have to provide this computer a port number. And then we'll add IP and the port number together. Okay, IP and port number together. And guys, this concept again is known as binding. So we have one function available in the market. It's called bind function. So what we'll do, we will bind this guy IP and port number combination with your process. So now your program will have two names, one s.py that is useful for local computer, and one IP and port number that will have a capability to connect from the outside world. Something like this. Okay. And that is the reason, guys, this topic actually what we are discussing today is actually known as socket programming. So rather I can give the today's class a name called network programming. Okay, we can say, but the right technical name for today's class is called socket programming. So whenever, guys, anytime if you see any port number, maybe you have guys worked with the databases, maybe you worked with web server, app server, you always see maybe sometime port number 80, 25, 80, 80. Okay, so those program on the server is created by some developer, and that some developer has done socket programming. So in this code, maybe Java code or Python code, they write this combination and they bind it by using some of the function. Maybe they might use bind function there. Okay, and because we are doing socket programming, so that is the reason, guys, we have to import a module called socket. Because this bind function is actually available inside the socket module. And same thing I will explain you, because bind function only give me a program and name that's called IP plus the port. Okay, but anything that's coming from network, right, somebody has to receive, so here you have to use a function called receive from. Okay, and this receive from function, guys, is again the part of the socket module. Okay. Okay, so then there's some more thing we have to discuss, guys. So this code is not yet complete. It's not yet complete. There's one more information I just want to tell you here. Okay, the information is something like this. Again, that is a basic networking concept. Okay, the concept is in the networking world. Okay, if from one computer, let's say A, if you want to send something to B, obviously what something is called data. But you guys know, whenever you send a data will always go inside a packet. And what packet contain? Lots of things, but it is, packet contain IP address, packet contain port number, and packet contain payload means data. At the three information they have. Okay, so whenever A want to send some data to the B, Okay, they send a packet, but the way they send a packet, we have to use a certain approach or certain rules, I can say, to send the data. Okay, and the rule in the networking world is also known as a protocol. We have to use certain rule or mechanism or the protocol while sending the data. Okay, so if you talk about, guys, rule of the network is called network protocol or network rule. Okay, so there's a way to very commonly used protocol in the networking world. Okay, so there's two main commonly used protocol. When I say two mean, it doesn't mean only two we have a lot, but normal for public world, we normally see these two protocol a lot. Okay, so one of the name of the protocol is called TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, and one of the protocol name is called UDP, User Datagram Protocol. There's two protocol. So guys, we are not purely in the networking classes. Okay, but there's a high level difference if you want to understand. Right? It is something like this. It is something like this. If you think a thing, they want to send some packet or data, and this data is not this data is very critical. Okay, critical, and what A want, after this packet received by B, how A come to know B received this packet. So A will wait and wait that wait for B, that after this packet received by the B will send a receivable message to the A and say, I'm B, and whatever you send to me, I received that packet with this data, and I'm using this data for my purpose, or I'm using this packet for my purpose. So this concept is called acknowledgement. Acknowledgement. Okay, so if A think this data is very important, so they will send this data in such a way, in such a rule. So they create a rule. So you can think in this way: A and B work together and create a rule. And between this, or you can think in this way: before A or B send a data to each other, they will initially set some rule here. And A say to B and B say to A, what I send to you, you have to acknowledge me that you receive. And B say to A, what I'm sending to you, you have to acknowledge me that you receive. Otherwise, if I don't give the acknowledgement, I won't send new data to you, or I will resend this data back to you. Maybe because this is a network, right? There's a lot of devices between in your network. Maybe some network goes down or something like this. So I don't want to lose this data. This data may be my database data. This is my banking data. Okay, so it's very critical for us. Or this might be my password for login. Okay, so A and B will create some kind of rule. By chance, initial this concept is called handshaking. So they will handshake, and the rule they create is called acknowledgement rule. Okay, and say because this of acknowledgement, I will control our transmission. So this entire process or entire rule or protocol is known as TCP, Transmission Control Protocol. So good thing about Transmission Control Protocol is is whatever A sent to B or B sent to A, they will always acknowledge. Okay, then they start sending the new data. Otherwise, there's a lots of other benefit also TCP. So guys, whenever guys you be a part of my network training, or anybody you are from Earth, I told you that time in my classes how to read the packet from wire or wireless. You can go and see. They keep on sending acknowledgement to you. But maybe in some other classes we'll talk more about TCP. Okay, so this is a good thing about TCP. Okay, but there is one challenge in the TCP. Because of the acknowledgement, the overall process becomes slow. Okay, slow. It means if A sends something to B, so A has to wait for some time, maybe that's in millisecond. Okay, after B send the acknowledgement, then A starts sending the new data. Okay, so it makes the overall system slow. It is called extra overhead they create. Okay, and guys, that is a great thing about UDP. It's called User Datagram Protocol. It means if A want to send something, they create a packet, send to B. They create a packet, send to B. Keep on sending, keep on sending. They don't have to worry about that B will send the acknowledgement. In this case, B never send the acknowledgement. They keep on sending. But in the UDP, the challenge is if A is sending the data to B, A believe, B receive it. Either they receive, they don't receive, they never know. This is the only challenge in the UDP. So if you think your data is not so much sensitive or very critical, if you lose something that's okay for you, then you can use UDP. But the good thing about UDP, they're fast and super fast. You think you want to send something that is very fast, use the UDP. Okay, and it is not only about fast. There's something where you don't consider about the speed. Okay, or maybe there is speed matter, or if you lose something, that's okay for you. For example, one of the great concept where we use a UDP a lot in your live streaming. So guys, whenever you have the live streaming or a live audio okay, so if A want to send something B, for example, we are doing live conference here and live chatting, or I'm talking audio call. Okay, so if you use between A and B and sending your audio message via packet in the data format, okay, and you know, if you use TCP, what happened? A send your voice to B, okay, and B doesn't acknowledge it. Okay, if A send your voice again, B doesn't acknowledge. Okay, but maybe A again, because we as A side we keep on talking, right? We keep on talking. So from my end, I keep on talking, but maybe for that time, between some devices we have from a telecom ISPs, and they're down for 5 seconds, and suddenly up. So good thing about TCP is, because B is not acknowledging, the TCP will again send the packet. You know what happened? You know, suddenly you see in your audio messages or audio while chatting, okay, suddenly your speed become very fast. Okay, or maybe some of the packet drop. Okay, because of this issue, right? They are fast because because that time somebody in that network audio applications, they are using TCP, so they send exactly in the same time and become fast. But in this example, if you use UDP, so if you're doing live talking or live chatting audio messages, if some of the part drop, if one of my video live streaming, some of the part drop, that's okay for us. Okay, so again, I don't want to I know I'm going to different direction. Okay, but I'm trying to tell you here, because a lot of guys think UDP is not good, TCP is good. Depend guys which scenario you are using. If you think data is very critical, you don't want to drop the data, and but you are okay with the speed maybe goes down, then TCP is the good way to send the data. Right, it's called TCP protocol. But if you think no, data dropping is okay, if you miss something, that's very much okay for you, but you want speed, okay, then UDP is a great protocol. Likewise, we have some more protocols, so now it is not important for us, but this is a very commonly used protocol. And all the other mainly main network application in the market, they either work on TCP and UDP mainly. Okay, and they have their own name. For example, if you guys might have heard of HTTP, or if you might have heard of FTP, or might have heard of SMTP. So these are the some kind of further customized protocol work in the same concept of TCP. But guys, if you might have heard about DNS, for example, or maybe heard about DHCP, for example, they work on the UDP concept. So technically, I'm talking about UDP and TCP, just a concept name. It's not like this, any kind of software come on the market, you double click and TCP start. UDP and TCP is just a concept name, and a lot of other the community and companies has created their own product. Either the product work on TCP, either the product work on UDP. Okay, and some product has their own pre-planned thing like mailing or website or file transfer or something like that. So again, that much knowledge is enough for you. So why I'm discussing this point to you, because okay, if A want to send some data to B, before sending the data, A has to decide and B has to decide which approach they want to use to send the data. They want to send the data via TCP, or they want to send the data via UDP. Okay, so before they decide before, then they start sending the data. So in this training, guys, we are into the socket programming. So in this guys training, I'm going to show you both the protocol coding. So we are also showing, I'm going to showing you how to do a UDP programming and how to do a TCP program. Today my plan is to go for user datagram protocol planning. So we are going to send our data from one computer to other computer using a protocol called UDP. UDP is just a concept. It means I am sending data continue to other computer. They will receive or not, my computer never come to know. If they receive, they will use my data. If they don't receive, we never come to know that they never receive. So today I'm going to use UDP. On my next classes we will go for TCP. But both is useful. Both is useful in dependent scenarios. Okay. So this is one thing. So technically in my code or while writing a code as a programmer, you have to write somewhere that you want your program to be work with a UDP program protocol. Okay, UDP protocol. So my protocol name is UDP protocol. Something like this you have to write. Obviously, guys, this is not the right syntax, but I'm collecting the information. Then those information, guys, I will convert into code. And guys, this is the best way to write a program, right? When you want to write a program, first collect the information, put in your file, and then slowly go to that language like Python or Java, and ask Python, do you have any way in the Python where I can tell that this program have to use UDP or this program has to use this IP port number. So we can very easily use the document of Java, Python, Ruby to convert this information into a code. But if you don't know the information, if you don't know the concept, if you don't know the technologies, writing a code or program, it is impossible. So after know the technology, knowledge, collect the information, 99% effort done. Only last 1% effort is just to convert this information into your programming proper functions or the concepts. Okay. And one more last thing, guys, I just want to add here, then we can start our final code. It is something like this. So guys, in the networking world, I think I've told you multiple times, in the networking world, if one computer want to connect other computer, both should require IP address. Okay, but understand one thing, guys, IP address is not the only way to connect between the computer. Okay, for example, right now if you see the IP address, it look like this. And guys, normally when somebody say IP address or network address, we always think a number something like this, that are 4 octet and 4 bytes. But in the networking world, guys, it is not the only way to connect two computer. There's other network address is also available in the market. Okay, one of the very commonly used on the internet that way everybody is comfortable on, name of that network address is called IP, Internet Protocol Address, especially version 4, or maybe sometime you guys might have a version 6. So this is a very commonly used network address in the networking world, everywhere we use. Okay, but for the network address that help me to connect two computers, IP is one of the network address. Sometimes is also known as network family. Okay, or I can say address family, or something like this. Let me use the word called network family. So IP is one of the family of the networking. Okay, but it is not the okay, or I the best right technical word is called address family, actually. Address family. Okay, so there's a lot of address family available in the market. Very commonly used that everyone knows is IP address, but apart from IP address, there's more family address in the market. For example, I don't know, have you heard about or not, IPX is one of the address family. Apple Talk is one of the other family. A huge list, actually. Huge list. Okay, DECnet is one of the name. So but IP address is very commonly used. Okay, why I'm saying this to you, because for till our knowledge we know IP address, but computer know, or Python know, or network socket know, there's a lot of family address. So while doing a program, I have to tell that my Python code or my socket programming will have to use address family called IP address family. This is my network address family we have to use. Okay, otherwise there is a lot of address family available in the market. So technically because obviously my system should shouldn't know which kind of address family you want to use. So to tell my network address family that I want to use here is called IP address family or maybe IPv4 address family we would have to use here. Because we'll tell my program that I have to use IPv4 address family. That is the reason, guys, I can use this IP address. Otherwise, my program won't able to understand what is this number is all about. Okay, because IP address, a lot of guys think IP address is the only network address. No, there will long list. If you search in the Google, there's one comment called IANA. They decide all the address family available in the market. That is standard address available in the market. Okay, so guys, this much knowledge is enough. Now we can convert this information into a code. How? Technically, we know the concept name. The concept name is called socket programming. So this socket programming manual that help and document help us. Okay, and one of the simple way we can start is something like this. So I can go to Python code locally, my local debugger, local prompt, and I can call a socket. I can hold for a second, please. Sorry. Yeah. So guys, this is a module, and you guys know dir command. This command will tell you that in the socket module, all the function or method that is available. Okay, and if you hit enter, okay, you will find lots of I can say function available over here. Okay, but if you see here, one of the important functions that is gonna help me is socket. Okay, before even though I go for socket, if you go a little bit up, okay, if you go a little bit up, you can see there's a lot of keyword here, property here, and if you see in the top, lots of property, guys, is start with AF. AF means address family. So you want to use address family called DECnet, you want to use IPX, you want to use Bluetooth, Apple Talk. Okay, but normally we are very comfortable with IPv4. So for IPv4, this is the address family name. So technically, in the socket module, we have this property available. By this property, property is like a variable. I told you my module classes. Okay, we have to. This will gonna tell us that in my code I am going to use IP address family called IPv4. So it means you can convert this line into this code. Socket dot address family underscore net. Okay, so I know the concept. I go to my help, and this line I have converted into this line, this keyword. Let me comment this line. So this is my address family name. Okay, same thing here. If you want to use UDP protocol, okay, so again, if you go to socket and if you search somewhere here, you will see something about SOCK socket, SOCK over here. TCP, you can see some name TCP here. Where is SO? Yes, here it is. Okay, and guys, again, I told you there will be a lot of approach available. One is TCP, one is UDP. Okay, so if you want to use UDP, so they will create a packet and keep on sending, and this packet is also known as datagram. So they keep on sending a datagram. That is the reason, guys, this UDP is not a user datagram protocol. Okay, so if you see here, there is a one socket is called dgram available. Dgram. Okay, dgram, and for TCP we have different. So a lot of different socket available. One is row, one is RDM, one is ALGB. So it's all depend, guys, how much you know about network. It is not about the Python. It is about how much you know about the network. Okay, but in my case, if you want to use UDP, this is the keyword or the property of variable that will tell your program that in my socket module, this is the property is called socket underscore diagram. Okay, so this is a my protocol. Let me comment this line. Okay, so if you want to use UDP, this is the property you have to use. If you want to use the TCP, sorry, if you want to use TCP, we have a different. So if you see here, socket.stream, it is for TCP that we will use in my next classes. Okay, and here I am going to use IPv4 address. So by this I can tell. Okay, because these are the information we have collected. But how can you tell to a computer that I would have to use this protocol or this family? So for this, guys, in the socket module, we have function called socket. If you see here, we have function called socket. So in the socket module, we have function called socket. And if you see the help of this function, okay, help of this function, what this will tell, okay, in this function, maybe help is not so much useful, but you can see in this help here, okay, help here, here you have to give your family name and here to give your socket name. Socket means your protocol name. Okay, so very high level, they give the meaning. Technically, okay, if you want to use socket programming, so in socket module, we have a socket function. In this function, we tell that my address family name is this one and my protocol name is this one. My address family name is this one and my protocol is this one. So this is the syntax of this function. And whenever you call a function, you can give the reference of this function some variable. Let's say s. So s is the variable that know how to use IPv4 and how to use UDP. I mean, this is the variable or this is the reference, okay, through which my program will know how to use IPv4 address and how to use a UDP protocol that doesn't have acknowledgement. They keep on sending data. So technically what I'm talking about, whenever you create a program in any of the language, okay, you have to decide which protocol you want to use, either UDP or TCP, that you have to decide. In my case, I decide UDP, or I decide I want to use IPv4. After you decide all this information, okay, then you will tell your program that your program is s.py, but it is s.py is known by locally. But if you want to know, if you want this program known by in the networking world, you have to give this program a name. This is called bind. So you have to use bind address. And bind, you have to first type IP address, the port number. Okay, but this binding we are doing for this program, but this IP and port number program will send the data, receive the data, which socket they want to use. So I want to use S. So I have to use s.py. Right. So this bind function is not a part of your main socket. Okay, this function is a part of this function. So normally in the network, in the programming world, this function is known as method and S is known as object. So guys, in my OOPS classes, object oriented, I will explain what is method and what is classes. Okay, so this S means UDP, and in the UDP world, I am binding this port and IP combination. And guys, by chance here, this IP is actually a string. And by chance, this combination should be put in one tuple or list format. Okay, so they only support one single argument. So I have to put this guy into a tuple format. So this is my entire code. Okay, so we have created our own code, okay, of the network programming. But after create this code and tested this code, we can achieve lots of things. We can create a lot of services. So how to create the services, how to create your own server, okay, that would be very simple after we tested this code and thing is working fine. Okay, because after you receive data from the client, now what you want to do with this data? You want to print it, you want to mail it, you want to store in the databases, you want to store in the file. It will be your choice. So it will be your entire your skills how you want to use. I'll show you some example, and there will give you a lead you to create your own servers. What I mean by this, we'll discuss. But till here, guys, the thing is done. thing is done. And by chance the receive from program is also a part of socket, this s.bind. And by chance receive from function doesn't support any string, they only support some number. What is the use of this number, I will explain you. Let me use this number. Okay, so I just want to check my syntax here, right? If everything works good, then I will explain you some more about receive from. Okay, now if I run this code, okay, there will be no error come up. That is very nice. It means my syntax is good, my function that I write is everything good. Okay, but if you notice one thing, this program is waiting for something. They're not doing what they're waiting for something. Okay, they're waiting for something. But before I show you what they're waiting for, I just want to show you something. Okay, now this program behind the scene, I have created a socket, means IP and port combination, and bind it. Or because I bind it, now this time, if you again check the process or running in a computer of s.py, again some process, right? Because when you run the program, they always run the process. Either you make the program for local or for the network guys. And this time the process ID is 9141. And now if you run the netside program, having T and LP, and what you will see, you will see 9141 is one process ID, but here there is no process ID called 9141. There is no ID. What I was expecting some this process ID should come up with some number called port number 1 2 3 4, whatever I write in the program, but it doesn't come up. Why? Because I write my program in UDP programming or UDP protocol, and guys, by chance in that netside command, right, this -t stand for TCP. So guys, when I use netside command, if you know, T stand for just show me all the program running on the TCP in my computer. But guys, this program, the program I created is not creating TCP, they created UDP, so I have to change my T to N to U. Now this netside will command will show you all the program running in my computer that either I create or somebody create for me, but I run the process, and that process has been bind to some port number. Okay, so when I run this command, now you will see there's a process number that's run by Python 3. The process number called 9141. What is this process? This process is this one, 9141 s.py. And this process is bind by this IP and this port number. That's called socket. So it is a proof that my program has started a socket. They started the port number. Or because they start a port number, if anybody from the outside world come to this IP, come to this port number, they will connect to this program, and this program will collect this data, and after collect this data, they will do with the data whatever they want to do. Okay, and why this program will collect the data? Because by chance in this program I have used a receive from function. So anybody come to this IP, means this my IP on this port, only this program will collect, because no other program will have the same port number in my IP. And after the collect, they will do, by chance in my case, they will print, but they can do something else here. Okay, and why are they able to receive? Okay, so guys, here we are not collecting data from a black screen terminal, because we are not collecting data from black screen terminal, so we are not using input function here. But we are collecting from the UDP. So that is the reason I use receive from function, because receive from function is meant for UDP protocol. But if data is coming TCP, the function name will be different. I will tell you what is the function name in my TCP programming. So receive from function from means if any packet come on this port number in my computer, and that packet is created by a protocol called UDP, I will collect, store in X, and X will you can use whatever I want to use. And what is the meaning of this number? This is the maximum size I can receive. So if you send some data in a packet, that's called payload, size more than 1024, so I will receive till 1024, and after this I will discard. So this is a maximum size of the data you're sending in this connection. Okay, we can increase or we can do some more thing here if you want to receive more. But guys, this size is also known as buffer size. So this is the maximum buffer size this program support. We can increase and decrease also. Okay, that's the meaning of this. And because I use receive from function, it is something like input function. That is the reason, guys, my program is waiting to that somebody send to this program and they receive. But right now what I'm doing Control C to terminate this. Okay, and now because I terminate, but this process is not running, or because this process is not running, so this process don't have any other network name also. So guys, here 1 2 3 4 port has been stopped. But I told you every process will have two names. One is the process name and one is the IP and name port number combination if the process support network connectivity. And who decide this process support network connectivity? The programmer of the process decide. You always never decide. Network guys never decide. The guy who create this program, they decide that my program will support networking connectivity or not. Okay, so guys, one part we have done. One part means we have created a program. Okay, we have created a program in my Linux system, that is IP129. Program name would be anything that it is not at all important. The important thing is my program is running on the port number is 1234. And second important thing is this port number on this IP is my program name. So if anybody from outside world, like my best case Windows, they want to send some data. Okay, so this system should know multiple things. First, which IP they want to send the data. In my case, 129. Which port number they want to send the data. In my case, is 1234. And how they send the data. What is approach or protocol they use. Because the guy who create this program for me and say my program only support UDP protocol, datagram protocol. So outside guy who want to send the data to you, they also have to support same protocol. So this guy had to send you data, okay, over the UDP protocol. Okay, so whatever data they want to send, they will be their choice. But this guy who is sending data to this system, that's me, okay, should again follow the same rule whatever I set here. Okay. So guys, let me create this program over here. So for this, what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to create one program in Windows. Okay, so I'm using Jupyter here on notebook. And guys, here what exactly I'm going to create. Okay, so in this case, my system is the one who will receive the data from the network. So I can say this is a receiver program. And guys, receiver program we have created already. And Windows is the one who send the data. So I can say the sender program. So in the Windows, that's my different computer, different laptop, maybe your mobile phone, maybe you can use any device. Only thing is you should have network connectivity. So initially just go and ping it, check it. So in my case, we have network connectivity between Windows and Linux. So I'm using Windows as my center program. Okay, so what do we have to do? Simple, same thing. So I'm going to create one more program here in my Windows. Initial code, guys, is exactly same. I'm going to import socket because I'm going to send this data in socket world. And in the socket, I am going to tell that in my socket, my address family is internet inet, means IPv4. And my socket, socket is datagram and storing this. This is the exact same line I have written there. Okay. And one more interesting thing I want to tell you. I explain every bit about why I'm adding this, why I'm writing this. Okay. So I explain you guys why I'm I'm giving the port number. So every bit, guys, I explain you why I use this, why I use this, why I use this, why I use bind function. Okay, but normally guys, in the networking world or programming world, especially networking part, nobody normally touch in detail. They just directly write the code and say this is the way we give the port number, and that's all. And especially in this line, okay, this is a very common term everybody use. I've seen multiple document also. They always say we have to write this, that's all. There is no explanation provided by for this term. But guys, I try to explain you every bit of it, so you at least feel why we have to write this. Okay, I explained you already. Okay, so this line guys is same as both the side, and now this is this is the program at the sender side. Now it's so simple to send. Only thing you have to do is tell S is the one who know how to send over the IPv4 using UDP, and there's a function called send to. So if Windows in my case is the sender, and because Windows want to send the data over the UDP, and because I want to send the data over the UDP, the function name is send to. And here they have to give two information: what data you want to send, in my case hello. And guys, but always is very logical, right? If Windows is sending hello, okay, where? Here. So this is the destination, right? This destination they want to send. Okay, so we have to give IP and the port number. Okay, obviously we can type here. So my IP is 129 of the Linux system IP, and the port number of that guy is 1234. And guys, when you give IP and port number combination, it always store in the tuple because there's one combination. IP is always in the string. That's all, guys. So the client side, you have to write just one single line. So what happened, guys, when you hit this, okay, my Windows, this program, let's say this is my Windows Python UDP sender. Okay, so this program we run in my Windows, they will connect to this IP, they connect to this port and send this data because they're UDP. Okay, so bad thing of UDP is if this program running there, if it's not running there, they have a connectivity network. If you don't have connectivity in the Windows, we can't see any error. For Windows, they send it because it is a user data current protocol. And guys, user data current protocol is also known as connectionless protocol. It's also known as non-reliable protocol. So they are not at all reliable, but they're fast. There's a different point. Okay, and after this IP receive, by chance in this IP, let me run this code. My in this IP, my program is running. They are ready to receive. As soon as they receive, okay, they store in the X, and what I want to do with the X, here in my case I'm printing, so you can see they will print over here for you. So let's see. So when I run this, okay, some error come up, okay, and this error is for different thing. This error say I like byte types, but it's string. What I mean by this, okay, so technically, guys, let me explain one small concept. I require 5 more minutes. We will conclude for today's class. So for example, let's say we have a variable called p, and I store a value called high. And you guys know whenever you store anything in the double quotes in the Linux, right, the data type of this guy is string. Okay, but normally whenever you send any data over the network, obviously send hello, hi, it is also a string. But normally in the Python, especially in Python version 3, 2 has a different, but Python version 3, whenever you want to send any data, okay, they don't support string data type. There is one different data type they use. The data type is called bytes data type. Okay, so they doesn't support string, they support byte. So the P is a string, and if you want to convert the P into bytes data type, we have a function called encode function. Okay, so again data is same high, but if you notice, guys, here maybe this first time maybe by saying before the data they write B as a fun tag here. So whenever, guys, you see any string and before the string they have B as a tag, it means this is not a normal string, it is a string that's called byte of bytes string. Even though if you let me store this guy into one variable called p1 and let me see the data type of the p1 is called bytes. So when you guys want to send something in the network, it should be bit and bytes. So they convert into bytes data type, then you can send. And it's not for the network also. Some kind of files also, like if you want to store some image file, we have done with file handling. Okay, so if you store any image file or video file, they also store in the bytes format. So in my upcoming class, we will talk a lot about bytes format. But networking in Python, especially version 3, not in 2, they send the data and receive the data into the byte format. Okay, so encode is a function through which you can convert the string into byte, even though vice versa you can do. For example, right now p1 is a byte format. If you want to convert the byte into again to the string, then we have a decode function. Again, a string come. So you can convert byte into string into byte. So same thing we have to do here. They say I support bytes only, not string. So bytes and hello is a string. So I can use here dot encode. Okay. So before we send the data to this guy as the destination or the receiver, we convert this data into byte, then we send. And now if you see here guys, again my receiver program is still waiting. Okay. And my convert, if I run this, there is no error come up. They show me output 5. It means 5 total character they send to this guy. There is no error. And if you go to IP 129, you might see some data come up. See here, this data come up. Okay, so this guy is received. And very interesting thing you see here, my IP is 129. But this program is also tell you one more thing. Who sent data to me? So they show me IP address also. So technically, even though till now we don't know the IP of Windows, but now this system told me the guy who sent data to me, okay, the sender IP I know. 140 is the one who sent data to me. Even though you can confirm very quickly if you go to Windows and Windows and IP config command. Okay, you can see the IP of Windows in my Wi-Fi card through which I connected is 140. So they are pretty right. Okay, so one more interesting thing is whenever you receive any data, you receive the data, but you also know about the sender IP also. So this also you can useful, right? Some website you see when you visit some website, they say I know your IP address. So in logs and other things also very much useful to know the sender IPs also. Okay. So today guys, I just explain you how to the programming of networking and concepts of protocol and especially the port number and how to write and send data from here till there. Practice till here. Okay. Then tomorrow I will show you how to convert this network programming into a server applications where you can create your own not application is a different thing. I'm talking about main thing. How can you create your own personal servers? Okay, that we will discuss guys in tomorrow class. Okay, so that's all for today. Any queries if you have? Okay, I will start your Q&A. You can ask me guys. Okay, 1 minute please. A very important topic. Believe me, I just started a core concept, but yeah, by this, because nowadays, guys, everything is purely on the internet, on the networking. And normally we use a pre-created softwares. But if you know how to create your own programs, okay, on server, you can create anything. Maybe you have some idea in your mind and you can create anything. What is basic meaning of server? Shubham, I haven't discussed today. Okay, tomorrow when I start creating our own server, I will give you the exact right meaning of the server. Okay, don't worry. Anything else, guys? Any query? Okay. How it work in IoT? IoT again, Akash, they also have a pre-created server given in the IoT devices, right? So maybe web server or SSH, depend guys which kind of IoT device you're using. Okay, so Raspberry Pi using or maybe other things also. So it's because IoT is used mainly in edge computing a lot, and you need to transfer data. And for transfer data, we call some network programming. So in IoT, the firmware of the IoT is whatever you use, either by C or Python. They normally have pre-created network session enabled. So why we previously run s.py in rel? Because Piyush, I don't know which context you're talking about, but if you're sending some data to IP129, so there should be one program, right, who receive it. So I create s.py in my Red Hat 8129 IP address. So uh, uh, so um, so they can receive it, and that's what they have done. Okay. How to set up the authentication API program? Tabis we will discuss, right? My API program is not yet complete. I initiated, but don't worry, we will talk about API in detail. What bind actually does? Say bind actually give your program a socket name. For example, in my case, I given 129 colon 1234. So this number or call socket I have given to my program. That's called binding. No, Manan, we don't have to give the buffer size in the power of 2. You can give 10 also, 20 also. Any number you can. It's good practice in the computer world to give in power to, in the performance perspective, actually, somehow, to always give it 2 to power, but here it is not compulsory. Can you use the camera to best staging? I also want to use camera, but I've initially I used in some of training, but because of the camera, a lot of streams traffic goes. So some lot of guys doesn't have so much great internet connectivity, so package drops. So that's all, guys, for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Lots of advanced things of networking we are going to discuss. Bye. Take care. See you.